Let's move on to Mac OS. I am sure you have managed Mac OSs before and you have seen the configuration, but in case you have not, let's go through the steps so I make sure you have everything. So of course, if you go to System Preferences, you have Wi-Fi connection, and this is where you see your current connection. I'm connected to WeNet for now, and if I want to, I can also go to the Wi-Fi icon at the top, which is going to go to scan mode and give me the list of all the SSIDs that are detected around here. And if I want to connect to one, I just go click it, and then I just enter the credentials I need to get to that SSID. For example, let's go to guest, and if you remember, guest is that WebAuth type of SSID for which I have a pass-through in my configuration. We configure this in the ROS section. So if I click that SSID, it's going to get to it, try to get an IP address, and on Mac, it's going to give me a warning that the certificate that the controller is sending to me is not signed. So there I have the choice to decide to continue, see the certificate, or cancel the connection. I'm going to continue because I know it's my controller certificate. And the good thing is when I continue, because it's a WebAuth type of connection, Mac is automatically going to open a Safari window to ask me to fill up whatever credentials there is to fill. If you remember, this one was a simple path through, and this is how it looks like. You just click accept, and if you click accept, you're open to connection, and of course it redirects me to Apple website because it's an Apple. All right, if I go to secure, then you remember that's a PEEP connection. And automatically, Mac is going to ask me to enter username and password because it recognizes that's an EAP/.1x connection, so there is probably some credential to be inputted there. And the good thing is, it says, do you want me to detect and negotiate with the server automatically what kind of security you want to use? Or do you want to click here and decide what security you want to do? But if you click this, by default, it's going to say you probably want to use TLS. And it's not TLS, I'm going to use its PEEP. So I'm going to keep it to automatic, and I'm going to put my very original username, Cisco. Oh, let me put something else, by the way, to see if it works. Join. Of course, it's still going to send me a certificate because PEEP, as you remember, is going to use a certificate side on the controller, on the authentication server. So if I say continue, it says, well, you are going to get a certificate from that server, and it's asking me to, on the Mac machine, accept this new certificate. So you see, Windows refuses a certificate by default, but you can choose not to refuse it. Mac is saying, if you said you want to set the certificate and you accept it, I'm going to add it to the trusted certificate. The username you see here, although it's Cisco, is not the credentials I use to connect to the Wi-Fi. It's the machine, the laptop you're seeing, the Mac laptop. Username and password, because I have a lot of imagination, I have named my user on that laptop as well, Cisco. So that Cisco here is the Mac user, Cisco, the owner of that laptop, not the Wi-Fi connection owner. Okay, and I go there and I connect. It works as well because my user test was also created in Module 7. So I'm connecting, and connection is successful. And you see it says it's .1x by default, and just below it says, oh, by the way, you're using PEEP. So it does detect that. All right, and because I have all the others, I can also create a network, and this is the computer to computer. Create a network in Mac language is ad hoc. That's IBSS. Just like we had this ad hoc connection in Windows, this is the same concept in Mac. But you see, the difference is that it offers a network name by default. Is that a good thing? Well, if you don't have a lot of neighbors having Mac, no big deal. But if you have a lot of neighbors using Mac and creating ad hoc networks, you end up having all the same name. So it's nice if you're all to communicate with one another, but if you don't, then you have to change that. The good thing as well is that it does offer a channel by default, and you can change that channel if you want to. But you see, it's only on 2.4. It does not even ask you to suggest a 5 GHz channel. So if you want to change that, you can go, and if you want to go to 5 GHz, you can force it down, but the only band that is available is Uni1. So default is going to be 2.4, but you can force it to 5 gig. Okay, let me keep it there. And security is not going to be much, right? It's going to be nothing or web. Wow, so that's not much, right? But again, IBSS is pretty old. Windows is kind of original, having the WPAV2 suggestion, but for Mac, it's going to be an insecure connection. If you want to create an infrastructure profile, you have to go there. And here you are going to do just like Windows, basically create a new SSID name for the infrastructure connection, the SSID that you do not find or you do not detect because it's hidden. And then here you have all the options for security that you can imagine. So personal or enterprise, WPA, WPAV2. What they call Web Enterprise here, by the way, is again this .1x with the dynamic web. you don't want to use it. The mode can be, again, automatic, but now you know what that is, right? Automatic or TLS, and then you set up your username and password, and of course, as soon as this network is in range, you would be connecting to it. So that's, pretty simple. If network is here, you click join, and it's going to send that directed probe request to the access point surround saying, do you do my SSID hidden? And that will allow you to connect directly to that SSID. If the network is not in the area, you just save it. And then, of course, the join button is not going to do anything, but it's going to save the profile with the remember this network option. And next time you're in range, you'll be getting into that network automatically. But here it's not there. And if you say show network, it's going to scan around, show you all the SSIDs that are being detected. Pretty much like when you click to the Wi-Fi icon at the top. Okay, then that thing, there are some advanced features that you can set where you can choose to remember or drop or organize your preferred networks. You can bring them up and down. And just like Windows is going to try to associate to the first one first if it's there. So you can organize which one you want to get into first. That's the profile. You can also remove some of these networks if you don't want to. And you can also turn network on or off, and you can edit those profiles. Then TCP/IP is about your IP addressing. It's like in Windows where you can change the IP address by default set to DHCP, but you can change that. DNS, that's what you get from DHCP, but you can change it as well. And there are a few other options, on the side that you probably don't want to bother too much with, except if you have some specific security requirements, you may have to get into the .1x page. And if you have a .1x connection, you may see the information there and you may be able to edit it if you need to. And then the other options, you probably don't need to bother too much about those in the CCNA Wireless. And that's Wi-Fi under Mac.